of course, we're living in incredibly complex times. This is not an easy time as our society wrestles with everything from a global pandemic to very important issues of racial and social injustice. And if those two things don't cause a marketer to pause and reassess everything, what would? So I think that a lot of tried and true, perhaps, tactics, proven performers, trusted partners, despite the perhaps history of historical performance or success there, most of our advertisers are truly rethinking everything. So we're going back to the drawing board to reset a lot of foundational strategies and frankly assumptions as a result. So I do think that this marketplace, unlike any other, is going to bring about certainly fresh assessment and reassessment of not only where brands need to be today, but how they need to move forward. And a few of the themes that we're seeing play out over and over again, of course, are the need for increased flexibility on behalf of all advertisers across all categories. Advertisers need to be able to pivot strategies and with that, pivot their ad spend accordingly. And I think some of the more rigid buying mechanisms certainly that still exist in the linear TV marketplace and the online video marketplace to some extent are hard for advertisers to navigate. And I would expect that for those reasons alone, just on sheer flexibility, digital video offerings will continue to become ever more appealing and perhaps really achieve the kind of scale of spend and investment on behalf of advertisers that they've maybe been unable to glean in prior marketplaces. And beyond deal structures that include more flexibility, really advertisers are grappling with where the best way to reach consumers is and how to best resonate with them. And that's a challenge for both message and media. But I think we see increasingly with some of the behaviors that COVID's accelerated, the way we're thinking about it is certainly that COVID has accelerated declining trends that already existed, and it's helped increase new or moderately adopted behaviors to scale. And we expect that to continue, but with continued consumer attention moving behind a paywall and to a lot of non-ad supported content environments, we need to truly rethink the ad model for how we potentially show up in those currently non-ad supported environments in a way that's authentic and enhances the consumer experience versus detracts from it. So I'd say those are two of the big things we're wrestling with.
Kristen, when you say you'd like to have a more efficient marketplace for CTV or video or advanced video, what do you mean by that? What would you like to see happen?
I think that we would like to see certainly that we have the kind of flexibility to optimize not only our total ad investment with a partner, but the different ad formats and inventory types that investment is made in. Advertisers are continually getting smarter about their business and what drives performance every week, every month, every year. Right? And we don't simply reassess what drives our business performance when, for instance, an upfront marketplace comes along. So the nature of how we spend and our ability to optimize towards what's driving performance needs to be as agile and as fluid throughout the year as possible. And I think that something like the global pandemic with COVID put an additional spotlight on, yes, in a very extreme circumstance, what some advertisers needed with regard to flexibility and optimization. But now that that's been confronted, I don't think that we walk backwards from that. So would certainly like to see the ability to transact on business metrics and have a more transparent sharing between advertisers and the media suppliers that we work with to not only transact on those metrics, but optimize against those metrics fluidly throughout the year. And I think that's an enormous opportunity for our partners to not only protect, but potentially grow their share of spend if they can flex the ability of their platform to deliver on business performance.
Speaking of performance, what about e-commerce and selling stuff? That seems to be more prominent. What do you see amongst your clients?
Yeah, broadly across the landscape, we've certainly seen, as everyone has, the acceleration of commerce by vertical. I think increasingly we will continue, again, accelerated perhaps by COVID, we will continue to see those content and commerce worlds collapse. And I think that very necessary. We need to continue to collapse that invisible divide that we know really doesn't exist between brand and demand. You know, any content experience can quickly become a commerce transaction, and commerce transactions often reinforce brand experiences. So we know that the two are linked. I would hope that over the next, coming 12, 18 months, we see more commerce enabled ad formats from a wider variety of partners across the marketplace. I don't think that that's a space that only a handful of partners should and can own. I think that that needs to become pervasive.